Well, welcome back to another video on the Jaguar. In the first video I did about the lock, I did mention I bought the vehicle with other faults. One of which was the DSC or ABS fault. One was the actual ABS, it was not working. Neither was the DSC, which is the dynamic stability control. You always need one of them when you're going sideways down the road. Anyway, this video might inform somebody that had the same problem that I had. The main thing that normally goes wrong with these, that causes this fault, is either a faulty electro wheel or a faulty sensor. But in my case it was neither. When I bought it off the previous owner, he mentioned something about the fault, because I knew it had that fault. The two lights and the engine management light on the dash and a little orange warning light. The car still drove, but you didn't have the stability control, you didn't have ABS, and also you didn't have cruise control. And his explanation was somebody, and me thinking it was him, because they had a faulty sensor, in their wisdom decided to connect the right hand speed sensor, right hand rear speed sensor, to the left hand speed sensor, and then try to fool it into thinking that all four sensors were working. Obviously that didn't work. So they had another go, or he had another go, and put in a new sensor and rewired it externally up to the connector. Because on the rear sensors they run through two connectors, and to complicate matters there's a change of colours. I think that was the nook of the problem, because I think...
Why is there a dirty wet coffee spoon on top of the...
A few moments later.
And the wet coffee spoon situation was corrected to the satisfaction of all parties. Anyway, we'll continue where we were. Yes. My problem was having had the botched attempt at fixing it in the first place by trying to connect the right hand to the left hand wheel sensor. He then must have decided to put a new wheel sensor in, and when he reconnected it externally to the connector, because he cut the wires off at the connector, you know, as you do, he connected them up again and it still didn't work. And the reason it didn't work is, if you get the wiring diagram, which I done got from the internet, you can see that they are polarity sensitive, the wiring. And not only that, as I just said, from the last connector block, which you can see at the rear of the car where he cut the wires, there's a colour change from white to brown and black. So he'd reversed them, and after Wayne had put a new sensor in and checked that he'd got a feed from the ABS unit, which is battery voltage, and he'd got an earth, which is the sensor wire. Of course it didn't work. What he did do, which was quite reasonable, was it got crimp fittings on it, so he put a soldered fitting in, thinking that might correct it, but he didn't check the connection between where the rewiring had taken place and the sensor, and he didn't know, and I didn't at the time, about the polarity. Anyway, when that didn't work, Wayne gave me the old sensor which I brought home, and when I tried to read it with the ohm meter to see if there was a connection, it came obviously quickly that it was polarity sensitive. You could only get a reading in one direction. So when we went back to do the job again, all was well. But in the meantime, because we hadn't got a reading the first time, got it working the first time, we both surmised, and you should never surmise, you should always work on fact, that the ABS module was at fault. And having gone down rabbit holes on the internet, where I found people saying the fault was with the ABS unit, because the Jaguar ABS unit suffered from dry solder joints, and you could correct the problem by opening it. They are a sealed unit for obvious reasons. You can reflow the joints, and one of the set of joints was the power to the motor, and all the other connectors, which if you look at the PDF I've put up, there's numerous other soldered joints, and even on one post somebody said their right wheel speed sensor wasn't working because there was dry joints on that part as well. So having reflowed everything was hunky-dory, he said. So Keefe thinks, no problem, Keefe can reflow joints, no problem. But when I took my ABS module off, it was different. I'll put a picture up of it. On all the other ones that they reflowed, they had 4 bolts holding the module to the ABS pump. On mine I only had 3, and straight away I could see it was different. And using a bit of my own logic, I managed to slit the box open, and where I opened it was where the connector came in, and there were no soldered joints. I don't know what sort of joints they were. I couldn't see the other side. I could only see the back of the motherboard. So I just thought, well, I'll just reflow them all, and I did that, and we put it back on, and there was no difference. So I bought a second-hand one. Unfortunately, it seems that the one that's on mine with these 3 bolts was specific to just 1 year, and the company had got to sell them. I got loads of them, so they were cheap. I got the pump and the module for £35. So I thought, way. Anyway, I put the module on. I didn't put the pump on, I just put the module on, and of course it got exactly the same fault. When you read it with an OBD reader, it was no connection, or a broken circuit to the right wheel speed sensor. And when you read the live data and moved the car, you had 3 wheels that were counting and 1 that didn't. So then that started me thinking, and I got hold of this PDF, which is readily available on the internet, and knowing what I knew about the sensor being polarity sensitive, I deduced that he'd crossed the wires. The new pump and control box worked. It had the same fault in it, but it also had an extra fault of some compatibility issues. So I imagine if you swapped one and it wasn't identical setup to the one you'd got, you get a compatibility fault, which can only be resolved with, I imagine, whatever Jaguar use or Ford, you would have to reprogram it. So I put my original one back on, and I had to wait for a few days for Wayne's lift to be clear, and I took it there and we jacked it up and we checked the feed, and again there was a 12 volt reference feed, but then I got him to ohm out in the direction of the sensor, and we immediately found that it had been connected up in reverse. The polarity was wrong. We swapped the wires around and hey presto, everything was working. So there you go. One other, this video will be useless to anybody that's trying to fix a normal speed sensor fault. It's only relevant to the ones, and I doubt there's very few of them, where people have tried to connect the right hand or the left hand together and got the polarity wrong. So that's how I fixed mine. The other faults that developed from that was I'd bought a new battery, so Wayne put it on at that time, and something else I learnt: as soon as I pulled off, I got a flashing brake light, and I thought we've pulled a wire out somewhere. Anyway, that's too simple to even describe how to put it right, because when you switch the ignition on, it says straight away put your foot on the brake. I didn't understand what that was, but anyway, all you have to do is hold the brake pedal down, pull up the electronic handbrake, and it resets. So that one went away, and when I got home, when I'd fixed that and got everything sorted there, I cleared the faults out of the ABS unit, but I couldn't clear it had the same fault in the ECU, no connection to the right hand. I tried clearing that and it wouldn't clear. Anyway, subsequently I went for a ride up to the village, and before I'd done 100 yards, the engine management light went out. It reset. So that would be a lesson to anybody. If you're doing any electrical work, always get an electrical schematic. It makes the job a lot easier. So, barring any further interruptions, bye for now. Oh, and of course, it goes without saying, like, subscribe, comment, send money. That's a good one. And I'll see you in the next one.